One additional note, you'll notice that when I get into a kitty covered in glitter, always make sure that your tool is covered in rubber. Now, having shown you a few kitties belonging to women,
It took me half a second too. It also took me half a second. It just works. It works too well. I want to start with the Lockpicking Lawyer April Fool's compilation. All the Lockpicking Lawyer April Fool videos in one go. There's a playlist of them. And we're just going to watch the Lockpicking Lawyer April Fool's video. Starting with getting into a woman's kitty. Why am I having a stroke for this intro?
this is the Lockpicking Lawyer, and just because you
I'm not even that pent up
doesn't necessarily mean that you should. At least that's the specific advice that comes to mind today. You see, what I have for you today is something that many women consider to be the epicenter of their most intimate moments and thoughts. These go by several names, which range from clinical to downright inappropriate, but looking at these...
How would he call a little kitty diary inappropriate, huh? What would be an inappropriate term for a cute little kitty diary, huh? No. I think I gotta be cope.
I think we'll use the term kitty for obvious reasons. I have 3 kitties to show you. This one belongs to Mrs. Lockpicking Lawyer, and you'll notice it's a nice rosy...
Wait, he's gonna break into another woman but his wife's kitty? Wait, but you can't. Once you got a wife, that's the only kitty you can break into, man. You can't break into the other kitties. Bro.
Pink and quite furry.
Squish that cat.
Dude, it's so funny that we're watching this on Romania Day, by the way. Shout out Romania. It is Romania Day. We are watching how to break into things on Romania's Day.
Can't tell this on video, but it also has a nice fresh watermelon scent to it. This one belongs to a neighbor of mine, a very friendly girl who works as a dancer. You'll notice her kitty is even more furry than my wife's, but she's also decorated it with glitter. That's quite unusual.
Okay, bro. I see how it is. Look, man. Look, chat. Why do you hate this video? Why? It's education. Do you just hate education? Dude likes a bush. I mean, that's his neighbor. That's his wife, you know? I don't think he... Look.
In my experience, you'll either find kitties that are furry or kitties decorated with glitter. Finding both together is rare, though I've heard it was a bit more popular back in the 70s. Even so, I understand this kitty is quite well used, so apparently it does have some appeal. This last kitty belongs to my ex-girlfriend, and unlike the first 2, this one is perfectly smooth on the outside. I understand that's becoming more popular these days. Also, unlike the first...
Dude, you can't break into all their kitties, bro. Bro. Oh my god, my tracking is lagging so badly. Oh my god. Wow. Dude.
2, this one is not pink on the outside. However, if we look carefully into these folds, we can clearly see it's pink on the...
It's pink on the inside. Yeah, my model is hella lagging. I don't want to give crazy extra work though, so I'm not gonna stop and fix it.
Inside. That pink coloration.
Hey! Nothing sus about that. Ignore the fact that I'm reacting 5 seconds later to my voice.
On the inside is fairly universal. If we look into my wife's kitty, we can certainly see some pink in there.
Why do you open it like that?
Over to my neighbor's kitty. Well, that one's more of a purple color. I've never seen that, but I've heard that can happen with excessive use.
Bro!
Now, only a few people will ever get inside.
I don't think they can get purple, chat. I'm gonna be so for real with you. I don't think they get a purple, okay, chat? I don't think so.
Any particular woman's kitty, and that's because they're kept closed unless you first get into their hearts. Now, I of course have the key to my wife's heart, so getting into her kitty is fairly routine. I do it often, and it usually doesn't take more than a few seconds, though my wife does seem to prefer when I take my time.
A few seconds? Really, man? Really? A few seconds?
That said, when I first met my wife, I did not have a key and found getting in quite difficult. I had to figure out exactly where to touch and how to manipulate to get in. If I recall correctly...
Why does the innuendo work so well? Why does it work so well? Yo! Chesia! Thank you for the raid! Welcome, welcome, welcome! Welcome, raiders. I'm PP and I'm lagging like hell. That's my intro. We came. Wait, you came. Wait, you came. On Twitch. Hello, lagging. Okay, bro. We're watching all the lockpicking lawyer April Fool videos. He's teaching us how to break into a woman's kitty. You know, like her kitty diary, of course. Look, this is his wife's kitty.
And a fair bit of time with my tool in this hole. Strangely, it did nothing at all. But when I squeezed my tool into this tiny little crevice, it seemed to pop right open. So that's what I've been doing ever since.
Dude, why does it work? The innuendo just works. You can't even blame him because the innuendo just actually works. From start to finish, it just works. Down to the inside pages of that one being pink, man. Dude, I want to see what's inside the kitty, though. I want to see what's inside. I want to see the secrets that it holds, man. I want to see the secret that it holds, bro.
Similarly, my ex-girlfriend's kitty is also kept tightly shut unless you first find your way into her heart. I'm not sure if I remember exactly how to do it.
Yeah, you gotta find your way into her heart like a true gentleman. Okay, man? Okay, man. You know, at least he's teaching good manners. You can't just break into the kitty. You gotta find your way into the heart.
I put my tool into this tight little hole in the bottom.
The hole in the bottom?
And there we go. It took a little bit more time.
The sound effect! The sound effect is so good. The sound effect timing. Why you call it PP Slayer? Cause it's funny. Wrong hole? No, it's the right hole. Depending who your target audience is, that could be the very right hole. I'm gonna say is, bro, working with both holes. Holy smokes, Jesus Christ, this video is crazy.
Than it used to, but I suspect with some practice, I could be getting into this kitty fairly regularly.
Wait, but I want to see inside a kitty.
Okay, moving on
the neighbor's
to
kitty.
the kitty decorated with glitter. You'll notice that this one is not guarded by the owner's heart. When I first encountered a glittered kitty, I have to admit I tried every technique I could think of to get in, and nothing seemed to work.
Ooh.
However, I noticed something strange that might help you if you ever run into a glittered kitty. When I put away my normal tool and took out a little bit of gold, it opened up surprisingly fast. I still haven't figured out why that is, but let's give it a shot.
Okay, the golden tool. Okay, bro. Okay, bro, the glitter kitty, bro.
We got into that very quickly using some gold. One additional note, you'll notice that when I get into a kitty covered in glitter, always make sure that your tool is covered in rubber. Having shown you a few kitties belonging to women,
Actually, we have a a second too. It also took me half a second. It just works. It works too well.
The question arises, do men have something similar? Well, in fact they do, but they don't quite fit in on this channel because unlike women's kitties, the male equivalent is extraordinarily easy to access. I actually borrowed a few from friends of mine to show you. You'll notice there's nothing stopping you from accessing any of them. I'm not sure why they're so different. One curious observation I had, though, is they're all about the same size, roughly 6 inches. I find that strange because comparing it to mine, mine's about 8 inches. I always thought that was normal.
Okay. Don't have to mog us, bro. You don't have to mog us. Okay, dude.
It's not. In any case, that's all I have for you today. If you do have any questions or comments about
that's
this,
crazy. There's more where that came from. There's like 6 more where that came from. Let's keep going. How to feel my wife's beaver. Oh man.
This is the Lockpicking Lawyer, and what I have for you today is something that's really important to myself and Mrs. Lockpicking Lawyer. In fact, it's something she's been playing with since her teens, and she let me first use it on our 3rd date. So, I'm sure you've all gotten a good look and can clearly see that it is my wife's beaver.
So this is like, okay, but what's the beaver an analogy for? Is that what they call? I've never heard someone call it the beaver, chat. So what is this for? What is this actually, without jest, what is this machine for? You know, like, is it like a gachapon? You know, like the ones where you pay a coin and you get like a ball? And inside there's a ball? A gumball machine. Beaver muff? Who calls it a beaver? Dude. If I'm with the guy and he says, ah ha ha, girl, let me hit that beaver, I am out. Bro. So out. Dude.
Now, I showed you a beaver a few years ago in video number 862, but I wanted to feature it again because as I read through the comments, I realized that many of you just don't appreciate how versatile a beaver can be. For instance, when they get their hands on a beaver, I know a lot of guys who just load it up as fast as they can and call it a day, but that is a big mistake. First, before you put anything in the beaver, you have to make sure all the appropriate parts are properly lubricated. Otherwise, you're probably going to do some damage. Then you need to give...
You know, he's a gentleman. He knows how to treat a beaver. You know what? He's a gentleman.
Careful consideration to what you're going to put in the beaver. It is pretty...
Girl, let me feed wood to your beaver. You would have to be with the guy first, though. You know, it's funny. That kind of roast doesn't work for me because at the end of the day, I am a woman. And if you think it would actually be hard for me to find a willing guy, we are kidding ourselves. Unfortunately, that roast kind of only works when I do it to you because... It's not because I'm some sort of Casanova. It's because guys are too desperate.
Common to see guys put balls like this.
Femcel talk, quite the opposite. I think femcels aren't real because like there will always be like, if you're someone that just all you want to do is get laid and you're a woman, you will be able to do it. Like if you truly want it and you will go out of your way to search it, no matter how you look, you will find it. You won't find love. You won't find a good partner. You won't find someone who's worthwhile. But if you just want to get laid, you will find it. You will find it. No worries. No issue. You will.
Inside the beaver. And while like most guys, I do have a nice sack of balls, that's getting to be pretty cliche.
Fuck, I kind of want those balls.
A less common and probably healthier option is to put your nuts in a beaver. But again,
don't
it's
put
not
your
something...
nuts in a beaver, bro. Don't put your nuts in it, dude. Dude, who wants to get to dispense something and it's fucking nuts, bro? Let's be so for real.
That really appeals to me. Now, if you're just looking to have fun, probably the best option is to put toys into a beaver. But a word of caution here. If you try to stick toys in a beaver and those toys are too big, it is possible, if not likely, that you're going to do damage.
Yeah,
and just
you don't
as
want to
bad,
do that.
the toy can get stuck. So, before trying to stick toys in a beaver, always ask the owner for both permission and instructions. Fortunately, by our 4th or 5th date, my wife figured out that I knew my way around her beaver pretty well. So she gives me a lot of leeway here and actually encourages me to be creative. So while I do have a lot of options,
gonna put the toys in the beaver?
my absolute favorite thing to put in my wife's beaver are banana-shaped treats. Now, obviously, this small package isn't going to fill up my wife's beaver, and it can be pretty awkward if you don't fill the entire beaver. In fact, it's usually better to have a little left over. So, today I am going to stuff my entire 15-pound banana treat package into my wife's beaver.
That's not gonna
The first thing I
fit.
need to do is take out my tool and insert it into this slit-shaped opening right on the top.
Of course, man. It
Then
always
I
starts
need
with a
to
tool in the
jiggle it
slit.
around for a while. This part can be boring. Just jiggle while giving it a twist. You might not think that can do much, but if you do it enough, it'll turn this little slit-shaped opening into a large gaping one. And I think you can see just how wide I opened up my wife's beaver.
Okay, but at least, you know, he has good etiquette. Let's be at least honest about that. He does have good etiquette, you know. He loosens it up first, yeah.
And it is clearly going to be a lot easier to jam in this huge
Can tell
package.
his wife is happy,
However,
you know what I mean?
At my wife's request, I'm not going to show that part on camera, so that's all I have for you today.
What?
If you do have any questions or
want to
comments
see-
about
what-
this, please put them
what
below.
is that?
If you like this video and would like...
I feel cheated. I want...
This is the Lockpicking Lawyer, and over the years, I have
Whatever.
tried mightily to interest Mrs. Lockpicking Lawyer in my lock collection. Unfortunately,
This is
I've
like a
had
bike lock, right? It's like a like a bicycle lock. It looks like it. PP have some class. I want to see him fill his wife's beaver with banana-shaped treats. I do. Shut up.
success at all, until last week when she came home with this absolutely perfect example of a Johnson. And it's not just any Johnson, it's the extraordinarily rare 18-inch variant.
Oh.
I did ask her why she was finally
18-inch
showing
Johnson. Oh.
interest in locks, and all she would say is, unlike my 2.5-inch
Dude.
long cock, this 18-inch Johnson would be getting a
This one's called a cock. It's called a cock, bro. It's just called a cock. Bro, you can't even make that up. I was gonna... Oh my god. Oh, that's not even an innuendo. That's just what it's called.
lot of use. So, how does one use an 18-inch long Johnson? It's fairly simple.
It's all
All you
curled
need
up.
to do is insert the tip of the shaft into this opening and press firmly. You'll note that while the shaft is fairly flexible, it's also quite hard. And that hardness is both intrinsic to the function and it greatly aids the insertion. Now, one thing I immediately noticed with my new Johnson is that no matter how hard I pushed, I wasn't able to stuff more than about 6 to 8 inches into the opening. If you try to shove it in any farther,
I mean, yeah, you're gonna do damage. You're gonna do damage.
do damage. You can, however, insert the Johnson in either the front or the rear opening.
Let me guess, the rear opening can take more.
Get it in the rear, you flip it over, then insert the tip of the shaft, that's usually the hard part, then give it a solid shove to fully seat it. Once again, inserting the Johnson more than about 6 to 8 inches into the rear hole risks damage.
I thought the rear hole would take more. You know what I mean? I thought the rear hole was better than that.
You may be able to get in a bit farther with proper lubrication. Now,
Bro, I hate that what he's saying is low-key not wrong for the lock, right? Like, you don't need to lubricate the locks and shit. Like, what he's saying is literally nothing wrong. It just fits.
As you might imagine, I was quite proud of my new 18-inch Johnson. And when I received it, I showed it to all of my friends and family, at least those who I could get to look. I was quite surprised when my father took me aside and revealed that he too had an unusual Johnson. In fact, one that's far more rare than my own. His, of course, is a slightly older model, which is generally built the same, with a somewhat flexible, yet very hard shaft. However, my father's Johnson is a full 24 inches long.
Oh my
I can't even get it on screen. I've read about Johnsons this long, but never imagined I'd ever get to handle one.
Yo!
Now, when I first examined it, I noticed that my father's Johnson has a wide bulbous feature on the end of the shaft. Because of that, you can only shove about
Is he nodding? Is he a furry?
3 inches of the shaft, really just the tip, into the opening. After that, it tends to get stuck. That said, it does seem to be very effective. So, I think you all can tell that I'm very pleased with Mrs. Lockpicking Lawyer's new acquisition.
He's a
and much
furry.
to my surprise, for someone who doesn't like locks, she also seems to be quite excited about my 18-inch Johnson. In any case, that's all I have for you
Why
today.
are you watching lockpicking videos? It's lockpicking videos, Mom.
Please put them below.
Mom, it's lockpicking lawyer.
Would like to see more.
Mom.
This is the Lockpicking Lawyer, and about a year ago,
I think this is the other Beaver video. I think this is the other Beaver video because he said 862 was the other Beaver.
Showed you my absolute favorite cylinder. This well-used, albeit somewhat short.
Oh wait, you know what? They're in order. They're in order. Let's watch the older one first then, because this one is. I also have that one. Let's start. This is. I think this is the oldest then. No, this is the newest. What?
This is
the oldest. Okay. Sorry, the order of the playlist is a bit fucked up. So this one we should have watched. This one and then the Beaver one and then the other Beaver one. So this one, let's watch this one first.
Lockpicking Lawyer, and what I have for you today is one of the most treasured cylinders in my collection, and one that I don't often share publicly. In fact, I normally only show it to my wife. It goes by many different names, but my favorite is that used by the French, so that is what we will use today. It is Le Coq. Now,
the 2.5 inches Lecoq, chat. The 2.5 inch Lecoq.
I have had this cylinder for literally as long as I can remember. In fact, I vividly recall playing with it all the time when I was younger.
Bro.
And you can see from the condition that this cock has seen some hard use over the years. If you're familiar with cock cylinders, you may be thinking right about now that mine is a little on the small side. And it's true. This is only about 2.35 inches long, which makes
it's average, I swear, it's average. It's average, I swear.
Smallest cock that I have ever seen. But even so, it never fails to put a smile on my face, and I've come to terms with the fact that I'll probably never have a bigger one. Now, manipulating the cock, like most other cylinders, does require a deft touch. With too much or too little force, nothing will happen, and likewise, you need to know exactly where and how to twist and push if you're going to be successful. But with all the time I've spent with this cock over the years, I have become a true master at manipulating it. So let me show you how it's done.
No more jerking off, it's called manipulating the cock now. We're manipulating the cock with this one, chat. That's right.
I like to grasp the cylinder firmly with my left hand, wrapping my fingers tightly around it. And with that same hand, I apply a clockwise torque. Now that torque is pretty firm at first, but during the course of the manipulation, I tend to subconsciously vary and pulse the pressure depending on how it feels. With my other hand, I start at the tip of the cock.
I get why he makes one of these every single fucking April Fool's, because it works. It actually works. Like, it pisses me off how well the innuendo works. It pisses me off.
And slowly tease the tips of the pins up, using a firm pulsing motion. And I like to work my way towards the back of the cock and then repeat those motions over and over again until we get the desired result. So let's see if we can do that right now.
He's gonna bust it open. He's gonna bust it open.
Now, I normally narrate when I do this, but when I manipulate this cock, I tend to lose my concentration. So we're not going to do that today.
Why he get all sultry? Why he get all sultry, man? He got all sultry. He locked in. The lockpicking lawyer locked in. Let's see how long it takes. How long does the cock last?
And there we go. It tends to catch me by surprise every now and then, but I'll tell you, it never gets old. So normally I'd take this apart right now to show you what's inside, but the prospect of permanently damaging my cock is frankly unthinkable, so I'm not going to risk it. That means that's it for today. If you do have any questions or comments about this, please put them below. If you like this video,
Jesus Christ, dude. So yeah, see, now on the next episode we start with the cock.
The Lockpicking Lawyer, and about a year ago I showed you my absolute favorite cylinder. This well-used, albeit somewhat short cock. Now if you'd like to see more of my cock, I'll leave a link to that year-old video in the description below. But today is all about the favorite of Mrs. Lockpicking Lawyer, and while she does like my cock, it is not her favorite. Her favorite is one that she actually had even before I knew her, though it never got any use until after we met. At least that's what she tells me. If you saw the title to this video, then you know that it is, of course, her Beaver. Now, I have been avidly interested in beavers since I was a teenager. But over the years, no two beavers that I've ever seen have been exactly alike. So let's take a closer look at my wife's beaver.
We're back on the beaver.
The most obvious feature is the large opening in the center. But if we take a closer look, we'll see something that a lot of guys miss. There's a small hood-shaped feature at the 12
Oh man,
o'clock
he found
position.
it. Oh no, he found it. Dude, I hate how well this fucking innuendo works. I hate how well this fucking innuendo works, bro. He found it, though. He found it. It's even the right spot on it, bro. That's, bro.
If you're going to manipulate a beaver, you're going to have to give that area special attention. Another notable property is the wrinkled surface all around the main opening.
Hey! It's just how it is, bro. Hey!
Not all beavers have that. In fact, I have another beaver that I keep on the side. My wife doesn't know about this one, but let's take a look at it. You'll see that this one is perfectly smooth on the outside. That's actually pretty common on the newer beavers. So let's hide this.
Doesn't have anything to do with age. Some of them are just like that. Some of them are just like that.
One away, and then see what it takes to get into my wife's. Now, from experience, I can tell you that a generous squirt of lube will make this process go much easier. So let's do that now. And we're going to work that in to get it very slick on the inside.
Okay, dude.
Okay, now that it's well lubricated, I'm going to take out my
Why? You don't have the
tool.
self-lubricating one?
Now, it looks a little bit on the big side. In fact, when my wife first saw it, she didn't think it would fit. But after that squirt of lube we gave it earlier, it should slip right in. But before I show you that, a word about technique. I'm going to be using a firm thrusting motion together with a small twist. Not everyone does it that way, but I find that technique very effective. Okay, let's get started.
Oh my god, and again, I hate that he's right. Like, what he's saying is actually the way to pick the lock.
It is disappointingly fast and easy to get into my wife's beaver. In any case, that's all I have for you today. If you do have any questions or comments about this, please put them below. If you like this video and would like to see more like it, please subscribe and have...
Bro, there's only one last chat, and it has, I would say, the wildest title, which is Beating My One-Eyed Monster. Beating my one-eyed monster.
This is the Lockpicking Lawyer, and what I have for you today is a real hands-on job. I'm going to show you what it takes to beat my one-eyed monster. And as an added bonus,
Do you think he got these custom made for this video?
I convinced a friend of mine to let me play with his one-eyed monster on camera as well.
Okay, bro.
Now, before we go too deep into this, I
Double
should note
action.
that there are obvious similarities and differences between my friend's one-eyed monster and my own. Both are quite a handful and have a curved shaft, a large bulbous protrusion, and of course this small slit at the end. Both of them are also
Just show me how to do sounding already, okay? Just show me... show me how to sound already, bro. Whatever. Let's do sounding.
rock hard with a slightly soft covering on the outside. That's where the similarities end. Where mine is smooth and almost leathery in appearance, my friend's one-eyed monster is veiny, purplish, and has these small
Dude, the artistry on those is so good, though. The artistry is so good.
pustules or sores on it. I've never seen anything
Oh, what kind of fucking HIV does he have? Why does he have sores?
like those sores on my one-eyed monster, and my friend wouldn't tell me anything about how he got them, other than to say something under his breath about a girl named Karma. But enough said about that, because the question remains,
Karma.
how do you beat the one-eyed monster? As you might imagine, there are lots of different methods that I've tried to get mine to pop. I've even done it left-handed, but I'll show you the ways that I think work best, and those are rapid stroking and, of course, a slower probing approach. I'll show you the rapid stroking method on my friend's one-eyed monster, and we're going to use the well-known three-step approach.
Okay,
Get a firm
bro.
grip, establish a brisk rhythm, and the critical thing to remember is don't stop until it pops. I can't say that enough. Get a firm grip.
Again, I feel like obviously the euphemism is meant to be jorking it, but because the whole is meant to be the whole of it, it feels more like sounding. It really does.
Good rhythm, and don't stop until it pops. Let's give it a try.
Oh my god, oh my god.
Just like that, it popped in my hand.
Damn.
Okay, now we'll try the slower probing approach on my one-eyed monster. This method emphasizes a more gentle application of force, but like the
Yeah, which one do
rapid
you prefer?
stroke method,
The hard and fast
firm
one or
grip
the
is
gentle and
essential.
probing one?
Now this might take a little bit more time and teasing to get it to pop, but it is also very effective.
Which way, Mr. Man? Depends on mood.
Okay, I can tell we're pretty close. This should be popping in my hand at any moment now.
Don't have to say it like that. Here
There
it
we
is.
go. Now, if you want to beat the one-eyed monster even faster,
Wait,
there
what?
is the deep thrust method, which is exceptionally fast and effective. All you really do
Is this an analogy for prostate probing? What do you mean the deep thrust method? How does this go into the fucking innuendo until now?
jam your tool into the little slit and wiggle it vigorously. Of course, you're going to need a tool that can reach all the way in, and not everyone has that.
Oh man.
Okay, one final
Is
method
this
for
sounding?
beating the one-eyed monster, and this focuses on the shaft. For this, you
Oh.
need something that can wrap around the
Oh.
shaft, and then you push and twist around the shaft, and eventually, if you do it right, it will pop in your hand.
I can't
All right,
tell
folks,
anymore.
as you saw, there are lots of ways to beat the one-eyed monster. And keep in mind that everything I just showed you can also be done left-handed if you just want to try something that feels a little different.
Of course.
In any case, that's all I have for you today. If you do have any questions or
Cinema.
comments about this, please put them below.
That's all
If you
the...
like this video and would like to see
There we go. That's all the April Fool's lockpicking lawyers videos. Hell yeah, Jesus Christ. So how do you beat your one-eyed monster? Huh, chat? How do you do it? You know,